Hello everyone, I'm Autobot Sonic's Telltale Gamer, bringing you the latest on everything Telltale games, Transformers, and more. So last week, Telltale released the launch trailer to The Walking Dead New Frontier, second last episode, episode 4, Thicker Than Water. And I gotta say, I am super stoked for this episode. The episode is coming out tomorrow, April 25th, for Xbox One, PS4, PC, iOS, and Android devices. And we got our first look at the key art here, which I am really interested in going over. We're going to go over the key art and the launch trailer. But first we're going to go over the key art. So the key art here we have, looks like to be the inside of Richmond, or the base of New Frontier. We have Javier and Gabe leading, like, basically on the cover. They're in the same position David was on the episode 3 key art, and Javier and Clementine were on the episode 1 and 2 key art. So we have Javier and Gabe overlooking everything in Richmond. We see Clementine on the far left looking very scared for some reason, so it could be possible that she's looking for AJ still, because as you remember from the ending of episode 3, she leaves, she splits up from Javier's group to go after AJ. And then we see, Trip and Ava being escorted by another member of the New Frontier, so we know eventually that they and Ava will be caught. So it's nice to know that Ava is in fact on our side, and that she's not going to double-cross David and us to join a New Frontier. And finally, the most interesting thing on the right is David with a noose around his neck. So it looks like probably Joan is going to have David executed for supposedly betraying the New Frontier, but he's not really. And so I guess, like, it's kind of reminds, this reinforces my theory that, oh, David's going to die in episode 4, and then Javi's going to end up either killing Joan or maybe throwing her in prison, and then he'll take over the New Frontier. That's what I think is going to happen. So, but for now, that's all for the key art. We're going to go over the launch trailer now to see what we can find out. But first, I'm going to go play it all one more time for you all to see.
It's sad how we ended up here.
You won't get away with this, Joan.
Take them. You've become a problem.
David, I'm not your enemy.
Joan's betrayal wasn't as bad as yours, little brother.
I did what I had to do to keep the people of Richmond safe. No one's above the law.
Javi!
Kate!
We gotta get you out of here.
Joan's people know we're holed up here, and they're gonna come looking for us.
We can't just cut and run.
Would you guys stop making such a big deal about it? If we get to save Dad, then getting hurt is worth it.
I'm sorry about what's going on with David, but we should have gotten out of here when we had the chance.
Have you guys even looked out the window?
Oh, holy shit. Get away from me!
Tell me where he is!
That's what this is about, then. You want to know where the boy is?
I'm going to get AJ back. We're all monsters now.
Okay, so the trailer starts off with this, with what looks like to be the inside of Richmond. Now, this shot, to me, reminds me a lot of The Walking Dead Season 1, in which we had, Episode 5, when Lee and everyone is escaping the Vernon's house, and he has to jump off the bell tower. Now, though, this episode seems to be focusing a lot on the theme of whom the bell tolls for, which is a big theme of The Walking Dead Season 1, Episode 4, coincidentally. So it's basically, this whole time we see a recap of what happened at the end of Episode 3 with, Joan revealing that she's going to take over New Frontier, and Javier and David being taken down by them. We used to hear Joan talking to presumably the members of New Frontier, saying that, oh, she probably is like justifying her actions, saying that, oh, we're doing this to survive, so I'm in the right. We see during this whole thing, we see all the members of New Frontier walking. We see the sign that says town meeting at dawn, and that I believe fits into the last scene of this trailer, which I'll get into later. After that, we have this scene of Javi and David are in the quarantine room, and they're arguing. Basically, I'm assuming this is what happens is if you chose to go try to run away from the New Frontier instead of helping out David, because David calls it and says, oh, Joan's betrayal isn't as bad as yours. So obviously this is if David if you chose to abandon David instead of going to help him, which I didn't do. And so David punches Javi for that, but that's all there is really to it. Looks like this next shot is from the same thing about the town meeting. We see a bunch of people, the New Frontier, walking around the background, and we have this graveyard here. I assume these is just like a generic graveyard of all people. I don't think it's like Badger's body or Determinedly Max's body or anything like that sits in there. More Joan narrating. And then we see this shot right here of an empty room with no bodies, and news getting ready for David to be hung. Nothing special there. After that, though, it seems to be Javi might be in the quarantine room or somewhere else. And again, Kate comes in to break him out. So apparently, I believe this is what happens if you chose to, once again, abandon David, because in that ending, Kate and David are running away. I mean, Kate and Javi are running away, and they get stopped by members of the New Frontier, but Kate manages to escape. So I guess she goes back in to save Javi because she obviously loves him and wants to help him and Gabe get out. After that, we have another scene, which I think this is actually if you chose to stay with David instead of abandoning him. We have Trip, Gabe, Clementine, Ava, Kate, Javi, and what looks like Eleanor behind Clementine, or in front of Clementine. They're all talking about like what they're going to do about the New Frontier and that they need to get out of there. We have this quick shot of Javi and Gabe running and taking cover behind some roadblocks from some New Frontier guards. Looks like they're looks like maybe this is during the same time as a town meeting, so Javi and Gabe are trying to save David from being executed at this time. After that, we have Gabe basically doing the same thing he did in the episode 1 and 2 launch trailer. We're just saying that, oh, we need a man up and we're going to save my dad. And we have this one scene which looks like Javi and Gabe are hiding somewhere, and Gabe just straight up tackles this guy to no effect. Then it cuts back to the room in the, kind of reminds me of the house that Lee and everyone takes refuge in episode 4 of season 1. Especially the living room and everything, like where Omid's after he breaks his leg on the train. And then Kate says, oh, we should have left when we had the chance. So that confirms my theory, I think, in that this is what happens if you chose to stay with David rather than leave him. Also, an interesting thing to point out here is that Kate's wearing a new, while she's still wearing her red checkered shirt, she's wearing a new white button-down shirt underneath it. So I assume that this is probably, like, maybe while she was either A, away from, if you chose to abandon David, or B, if you chose to stay with David, maybe they just find the shirt and give it to her because she was just wearing like a sports tank top underneath her jacket, like in the episode 1 and 2. But not much else we can tell from that. More shots of this looks like Joan talking to David and determinedly Javi in the quarantine room. So I guess this is like saying like, oh, Joan like is going to David, telling him that he's going to be executed. And then we have this interesting shot of Eleanor telling Javi, did you even check, like, look outside the window? And we see Javi opening the blinds on this window, and he is like, holy shit. We don't know what he's saying holy shit about, but then right afterwards, we see this giant tanker explode, and it has a New Frontier logo on it, as you can see right there on left. It even says Richmond behind all the rust. You see this armored, like, bank truck or SWAT car that's being blown. Maybe, like, this is, like, I have a feeling if you've ever seen Season 5 of the Walking Dead TV show when Carol breaks Rick and everyone out of Terminus, this is what it seems like to me. Maybe, like, Kate, this is how Kate breaks back into Richmond. She makes a distraction by blowing up this fuel tanker, who knows. After that, we see a bunch of walkers running through the destroyed tanker. So this, for that, whoever that, I think this is us, we're destroying this tanker so we can get walkers inside the New Frontier to create a distraction. We get more shots of that. We have this shot of Javi going inside this toolbox, looks like to grab a weapon or something, but then a walker grabs him, and then Javi kills him with a bunch of pliers. Now, if you pay really, I'm trying right now to see if there's any sort of we can tell where this is. Now, if you look really closely, the area that Javi is in, this is actually the warehouse from episode 3 where Badger dies. So why is Javi back here? Who knows? Perhaps maybe he's trying to get some of the weapons that Badger and Max were confiscating from the New Frontier and using them to help him take down Joan and the rest of the New Frontier. Who knows? After that, we get this shot of Javi, the continuation of the one with Gabe tackling the one guy. We see Javi trying to choke out the same guy that was attacking Gabe. Now, the most important, the part that I'm most excited for in this trailer is this shot of Clementine talking to Lingard saying, where is he? Which is obviously she's talking about AJ, because that's the whole thing. David told Clementine that AJ is with Lingard, and so she's going to go with him. Now, what's really interesting here is now, I don't think Javi would be here with Clementine in this moment, so this means that we will actually be playing as Clementine alone in this. This will be the first time in the season where we'll be playing as Clementine outside of a flashback. So, we see here, this is Lingard's office. You got his computer behind Clementine. She's always up. We see Lingard holding some sort of drug. It could be the vancomycin that what he was using in episode 3 because, and also, if you go to the next shot of Clementine looking at Lingard, you can see he doesn't look so good. This is because, if you remember back in episode 3, if you choose to inject AJ with a vancomycin, David finds out that, Lingard is, uses his drugs to get high, and so it could be possible that he's a drug addict, and he's just, like, Clementine catches him in one of those moments. And then after that, we get this flashback scene of AJ and Clementine at a campfire. You can tell it's flashback because Clementine's wearing her Season 2 jacket. And we have just Clementine beating the shit out of this walker with a rock. Now, another interesting thing to note here is, like, which flashback this occurs to. Is it part of the Kenny ending, the Alone ending, the Wellington ending, or the Jane ending? Well, here's one thing we can look at. If we look at the shot right here of Clementine killing the walker, we don't see the scar on her cheek that she gets after being shot in the face in the Wellington ending. We don't see a scar on her eyebrow that she gets from hitting her head on the steering wheel from the Kenny ending. And if we see a clear shot at both her hands, neither of which is she missing a finger. So this is from the Jane ending. Now, there have been some leaked files in the game that people have found that there is an unused grave texture in which Clementine was to dig a grave for Jane, and even in the concept art for The Walking Dead season, A New Frontier, there was concept art for a gravesite, which looks very similar to this. So it could be possible that this is the Jane flashback, and Clementine's in the process of burying Jane, and so a walker tries to sneak up on her and AJ, and she just beats it to death with a rock. An interesting thing, though, after that is we get the final shot of the trailer, which is of Joan getting ready to execute David by hanging him. We see all the members of the New Frontier lined up to see this. Now, this is what I think the town meeting is for, that was shown on the one poster in the beginning of the trailer, because they're all heading over to see David. And this is probably where Javi and Gabe are heading now. Now, I think this is going to be a Game of Thrones moment right here. Now, if you remember the Season 1 finale of Game of Thrones, when Ned Stark is killed by Joffrey, this is the exact same position. Arya goes to try and save her father before he's killed by Joffrey, but it's too late, and she's forced to watch her father die. I feel like this is what's going to happen in Episode 4. Javi and Gabe are going to try to save David, but it's too late. They hang him, and that's probably how the episode ends. And then that would make it up for Episode 5, where we have the choice to either kill Joan or perhaps maybe throw her in prison or something. And so then Javi will take over the New Frontier. That's my idea for that. But the interesting thing here is the line that Clementine says here, "We're all monsters." Now, why would Clementine be saying this? And the thing that I'm really surprised about is the way Clementine says it. Now, to me, it sounds like a much younger Clementine. Could this perhaps be a flashback to Season 2 or maybe even Season 1? Who knows? But to me, it just sounds too like high-pitched to be Clementine now. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And so that was my analysis of The Walking Dead: A New Frontier Episode 4 Thicker Than Water launch trailer. The episode is coming out tomorrow, April 25th, for Xbox One, PS4, PC, Android, and iOS devices. Are you excited for the next episode of The Walking Dead? If you are, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys later.